topic called project appraisal. Project appraisal is a process which takes place during the second phase of a project life cycle, that is during the detailed planning stage. So as the name suggests, appraisal. Appraisal means, what is appraisal? Do you know what is appraisal? Okay, can you see the slides now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so appraisal means a kind of assessment, right? Usually to judge whether the project is viable or not in various aspects, be it economical, commercial, managerial, or even technical. So it's a very important activity or task under the project implementation or planning, which takes place, as I said, when you have passed the feasibility test. Now you are sure that this project you can go ahead because it is feasible. But you need to have a more detailed analysis of that before making some solid moves, or real moves in terms of cost allocation or expenditures. So before that, you want to see that whether there is some other hurdles or kind of things against the project, so that you can drop the idea at this stage. So a project appraisal is maybe the last kind of cross-checking, and if you clear this test or appraisal, project appraisal, then the project will be get the green signal for actual implementation. So as you can see in the slide, that around 70% of the project time or cost overruns are due to unrealistic assumptions at the project formulation stage. So when you are formulating the project or thinking about the project, you need to get the ground realities to make it a better plan. Otherwise, you will have 70% of miscalculations. Miscalculation in terms of its budget, in terms of the risk. So suppose you got an idea that this project will get a market for it, but you have miscalculated it. There is no market, but you are thinking the product you are going to produce through this project will be sold out. So this is miscalculation. So you want to ensure that be it market or be it your own financial positions, everything are in place. So that's why project appraisal is a very important stage or activity, I will say, in the project life cycle. And one has to, or the stakeholders have to carry out it very, in a proper manner and without any kind of laxity on it. So what are the various project appraisal divisions or kind of categories we will discuss today? So it is the process of analyzing the technical feasibility, economic feasibility, viability of a project proposal with a view to financing. Even the financial institutions or the banks from which you are applying for any kind of help or financial loans, etc., they also carry out the project appraisal at their own level, right? Suppose you will put some industry idea or startup idea to a bank, let us say, for funding purpose, right? They have some technical group, right? They also consists of technical people. They can make their own appraisal. They will not believe in your kind of claims that this kind of project will do very good business and it will be successful and things like that. So they will not believe on that. They have their own appraisal system, right? Because they are a stakeholder now, because they will fund it. So if the project fails and you got bankrupt, of course, that becomes a NPA for them. So they used to make their own appraisal. That is another thing. So they will look into the project idea, the proposal, and they will also conduct various kind of surveys and studies, assessments, that whether this project will be really successful, so that they can be encouraged to fund it. So that is the meaning of project appraisal. So any stakeholder who is a part of the project, be it the owner, the client, or the service provider, they will just look into that this proposal or this project idea is a good one, is a viable one. So that is the thing. So during the project appraisal stage, measurement of costs and benefits are difficult, as these are spread over a long term with a high degree of uncertainty. I used to talk these two terms about costs and benefits, right? Plus and minus. I mean, minus and plus, respectively. So cost is something which you have to bear, right? It's kind of expenditures. It's not necessarily always the cost is the finance, right? It can be the cost to the society, the cost to the environment. So that is also cost. Whereas benefits are the positive things that you are getting back. So again, it is not only your financial or the profit or returns in terms of money, it's the benefit also maybe to the society at large, or maybe to your brand value as a company. You have improved it, enhanced it by going for that project. So those are benefits. So be it tangible or intangible, the cost and benefit both can be tangible and intangible also. So it will be difficult, as you understand, that when you are thinking about a project, how you can forecast or foresee the kind of costs and benefits the project will have in future. Future, I underline the term future here. The reason is that it is very difficult to see again that once the project is completed, what kind of effect the project will have, maybe on the society or maybe on the market and things like that, because it's very dynamic and things change. It's a kind of market or kind of mindset that changes from time to time as the orders changes, the market orders changes, or global order changes. So it is uncertain. It is uncertain, but still you can have some kind of exercise to forecast or to see through the uncertainties and to have a idea that what are the costs and benefits which are associated with the project. So of course you will go for a project which will have a better benefits, means the total positives are more than the total negatives, obviously. Anyone who is funding a project will look into this, that what are the benefits and what are the costs. So if the benefit is greater than cost, then it is we can think about it. So project appraisal is the process of assessing in a structured way the case of proceeding with a project or proposal or the project value. So the last sentence gives you a what usually happens in case of feasibility study. There you just kind of give you an overview of the project and giving you a fast views or fast thoughts on the project that, okay, it can be done, right? Without going in detail into that. That is feasibility analysis or feasibility study. But in case of this project appraisal, you are delving deeper into these project proposals, and you are handling many data. In fact, many quantitative approaches, many analytical tools, even data analytics. Maybe you can talk about. So here you are more serious, and you are considering all the surveys on the actual feedbacks and everything. So that is the assessment in a structured way. That's why it is in a structured way. The case for proceeding with a project or a proposal or the project viability. So there are various project appraisal categories or classes or aspects. So like technical project appraisal, technical, or it called technical appraisal in short. Then you have economic appraisal, then financial appraisal, then management appraisal. There are a few more also there, like socioeconomic cost benefit analysis is also kind of appraisal. So let us discuss all these one by one for this. Okay, so you can see a figure here which also tells us what are the various categories of project appraisals. So like technical, social, legal, commercial, institutional, financial, and economical. Let me briefly tell you about all these project appraisal. Then we'll go to the detail of that. Starting from technical. So technical, as you know, or maybe I have discussed somewhere in earlier times, like what is the technical aspect of your project. So when you are talking about technical aspect, it is dealing with the things like your engineering aspect, means so what is the kind of technology you are using for the project. If it is a technology oriented project, what is the technology you are using, what is the source of that, do you have the patent for that, or you have to tie up with some other company, or do you have to develop the technology, or things like that, or the technology that you are using, whether it is state of the art or it is obsolete. So these things you'll look into that in that project, the technical aspect, even the selection of the materials, the specifications. So all the engineering aspects which are related to the project, that is being assessed in the technical appraisal, right? So all these copyright issues or the signing of a MOU for technical cooperation or kind of sharing of knowledge or technological knowledge, all these things comes under the technical appraisal. So when we are talking about the project's technical appraisal, we'll look into that aspect as a company, that whether we have the available technology know-how with you, or we have to take the help of others. If other company is going to be helping us, then what is the kind of terms and combination, terms and conditions, MOUs that we have to sign, right? And as I said, you every time, of course, you like to have the latest technology to be used for a project. Once you are starting a new project, no company will prefer a technology which is outdated or obsolete. Everyone will like to have the latest one, so that at least it will work for the longest possible time. So that is coming under the technical appraisal. Then comes the social appraisal. This is also very important aspect. If you are having some greenfield projects where you have to acquire the lands, etc., maybe some new auto company or some plant, kind of steel plant, or mining projects, or even thermal power plant projects. So where you have to acquire some kind of land, maybe inhabited by some people, and there will be some social issues of that. So that's come under the social appraisal. What is the effect of the project on society at large? That will look into. Even pollution, even the pollution are kind of effect it is having on the environment. So that will be taken care of in the social aspect. The employments that the project is going to give to the people living nearby, or people being replaced by displaced by this project. So these things will come under social, right? So how many people are affected, in what way you are positively impacting, and what way you are negatively affecting. So all these things we'll look into in the social appraisal. Legal. Legal, as you can guess, that whenever some new project is there, there will come up with some legal issues. Legal issues with respect to maybe land acquisition, or maybe certain rules and regulation of the government that we may be violating. So how to handle it, right? Or maybe some kind of copyright or patent or technology issues that need some legal aspects, legal handling of that. So that is the legal appraisal. So you look into that. If you are going for this project, what are the chances that there will be some legal issues, be it from the government or from any other party, maybe from your competitors, maybe from the people at large will have some, they will file some PIL kind of thing, that this kind of project or industry will have effect on us. So these are all dealt with, having some legal appraisal of it. Then comes something called commercial. Okay, this commercial and economical, they look very similar, but I will highlight what is the difference, and you should remember it. Commercial and economical, both looks to be very synonym, but they are different. Commercial appraisal is something which you are dealing with whether there is a possible market for this product or not, or service, whatever you are finding as your output from your project. Am I connected? Means, are you able to hear me? So commercial, as I said, commercial means you are looking into the commercial aspect of the project. Means what is the meaning of commercial? Commercial means the product or service that is your final output from your project. whether it has got a potential market or not. That is a commercial appraisal. So it is very important. Suppose you didn't carry out this appraisal and you just started the project, and your product or service has no takers, nobody is buying it, there is no market at all. So what will be the consequence? So commercial appraisal looks into that. It is kind of market analysis or kind of surveys that yes, this product will be sold and there is a potential market for it. So that is called the commercial appraisal, right? Whereas economical appraisal is something where you are finding out whether it will be financially or economically beneficial for you or not. That is economical appraisal. See, after all, you are not doing this project for charity. You need to have the return on your investment, which is called ROI in short. So you need ROI, that is the return on investment. So for all these projects which are commercial in nature, you will also look into that whether it is economical for me or not, right? And economical means you will look into the profit factor. Means profit means what is your investment, and after how many years you will break even, and when you will get the profit, what kind of profit you will get. So that is the economical appraisal of that, right? Economical. Whereas there is another term which is also very similar, that is called the financial appraisal, right? Financial appraisal means you are just checking your own pockets, right? Your own wallet, right? So the company will see that whether we have enough funds to invest in such a project at this time, or we have to manage or raise money or capital from some other source, maybe from by taking loans from financial institutions, or if it is a listed company, maybe by taking from the market, right? By issuing shares, etc. So that is coming under the financial appraisal. Financial means you are checking your own financial strengths, right? Whether you are in a position to invest in such a big project at this time or not. So that is financial appraisal. So this economical, financial, and commercial, they all are related with money, but the perspectives are different. The way you have to look into that is different. Then comes the institutional appraisal. It is also sometimes called the management appraisal. Institutional or management appraisal checks that whether your company and its capacity or capability in terms of manpower or management resources are good enough or capable enough to handle this kind of project or not. So imagine a very contrasting situation I'm giving. Suppose there is a very small company, means kind of SME kind of company, right? And they think of a project of a multi-crore project, maybe more than 100 or 200 crores. And everything is in place, means they have all the financial, some bank is ready to pay for them. And they are finding the market is there. They also find it is having a social impact, positive impact. Everything are in place, but the company is very small, right? Their turnover is in lakhs, but they are thinking about a project of multi-crore project. So there will be some issue of this institutional appraisal at that time, maybe. Because you don't have that kind of decision making power, or kind of you have not handled that kind of project, right? Because you're a very small company, and your management and your policy maker and decision makers, they don't have that kind of exposure or experience to handle projects of that scale. So there will be some issue, although all the things are in place, but maybe there will be some issue, and you may not be able to jump into that kind of project. So that is called institutional appraisal, means a kind of management appraisal. So if your management means the top rungs of your hierarchy, they are capable of handling this kind of project. They have experience and all that. So it is easy for them to pull on that kind of project when other things are being provided, compared to a small company who does not have that management capability. So that is called institutional appraisal. So all these things are part of project appraisal. and let us take one by one. Okay, so technical appraisal. So as you can see here, I already discussed about it. What are the kind of things you cover under this technical appraisal? So it determines whether the technical parameters are soundly conceived, realistic, and technically feasible. Technical feasibility analysis is the systematic gathering and analysis of the data pertaining to the technical inputs required and formation of conclusion thereof. Okay, forget it. The availability of the raw materials, equipment, hardware and software, power, sanitary and storage services, transportation facilities, skilled manpower, engineering facilities, maintenance, local people, etc., depending on the type of project, are coming under technical analysis. Okay, I repeat this second paragraph. You can understand what are covered under technical analysis. So the thing is raw materials, right? Availability of raw materials. So in the technical feasibility, let us imagine some project which consumes a lot of raw materials, right? Let us say a steel plant is a project. So in the technical appraisal, you look into what is the raw material it is consuming, maybe some ores, which are iron ores, and obviously its availability. You look into a place for the project, and you will ensure that okay, the raw materials are available. You can get the iron ores easily. Otherwise, what is the purpose of thinking about the project if it is not available? So these things comes under technical appraisals. Okay, once you got good quality raw materials are available, there are many other raw materials which are used in projects. So it should be easily and continuously available to you. That you have to ensure in the technical appraisal. The operations, the equipments, the processes, that also you have to look into. So what is the process of steel making you will make use to in your project? There are many types of steel making, right? Starting from the old method of blast furnace and to the latest methods of steel making. So what is the process or what is the kind of technology you will make use in your project? That will look into in this technical appraisal, whether it is the best one in the present time or there is some other latest technology is available, but how to get it. So those things you will look into. Okay, so that equipment, hardware, software, etc., and all these things, transportation, skilled manpower, engineering facilities, maintenance, local people, etc. So these are all comes under the technical analysis. This feasibility analysis is very important since its significance lies in the planning, the exercise, documentation process, risk minimization. Okay, this is very general comment. Now let us see point wise what are the things under technical appraisal again. Here also, it is very important. You will decide about the plant capacity, that is technical. These plants like steel plants, they used to give their specification maybe in terms of metric tons. There is a 100 metric ton steel plant will be produced. So that is a specification. That is a technical specification, and that comes from technical appraisal. So at this stage, you have to see that what should be your capacity in metric tons you are going to produce. Or if it is any other project, then maybe if it is hospital, then maybe number of beds. If it is educational institution, then number of seats. So depending on that, you are talking about your capacity of your project, right? So that is a technical feature. Of course, you have to decide its physical location, the site and the layout. So that is also technical. So second one is technology used. I already discussed about it. Type of equipment and suitability of conditions. So how realistic is the implementation schedule, procurement arrangements, consultants, product mix, cost of. Anyone who knows what is product mix? Have you heard of this term, product mix? It is a very popular word. Yes, I'm waiting. Okay, so product mix is another technical term. When you are producing multiple products, let us say an automobile manufacturer, they are producing multiple products, I mean models, right? So in what ratio they will produce is a technical term, right? That is called product mix, right? Suppose there are 4 models a car manufacturer is producing. So in what ratio they will produce? So that product mix they will maintain. For example, they used a ratio like 1:2:3. 1:2:2:3. So if they are producing 1,000 units, then according to that, they'll divide the product mix. So that is a technical parameter. Depending on the demand, of course, they decide the product mix. And time to time, depending on changes in the demands of their models, they are free to change their product mix ratio, right, depending on the requirement. So that is a part of technical appraisal, that what kind of product mix will adopt for the project. Cost of operation and maintenance, necessary raw material inputs, potential impact of project on human and physical environment. These are all comes under the technical appraisal. So all the engineering aspects, right, that you can. Then comes the financial appraisal. I told you, financial appraisal means you are looking into your own pockets and how to arrange for extra capital that is required for your project and all that. So to determine whether the financial cost and returns are properly estimated and whether the project is financially viable, right? Financially viable means to you are in a position to fund it. It includes the fund requirements from bank loans or from market through shares, etc. Following minimum details are determined in the financial appraisal. Okay. So you are just checking your own pockets, as I said. So what is the total expenditure you are going to have? And what are the operation and maintenance expenditures with that, O&M expenditures? What are the opportunity costs? Like it represents the potential benefits an investor or business misses out on when choosing one alternative. So that's called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is a kind of virtual cost, right? So suppose you implemented, invested in a project, right? Maybe at the same time, you are losing out on some other kind of investment, which may be more lucrative to you, which might have given you more benefit, but you lost it. So that is called opportunity cost, right? So it does not actually happen, but it is kind of virtual. Then comes something called return on investment, ROI, as I told you. So here you will check what is the ROI, what is the return on investment. Suppose you have invested amount X, then over what time period you will get back that return. That is the break-even point, as I used to tell you. So after what time you will get back your whole return, and thereafter you will get continuously the profit part, right? So if that break-even point is very long, let us say, that also you have to take care, because you are not going to get back your whole investment for a long time. So are you in a position to manage with that? Or if it is having a very short break-even point, so maybe within few months or few weeks, you'll started getting back the return. So that is more preferred. Right. Then there is something called net present value, or NPV. This term is used in the calculation of your finance positions or investment or returns, because see, the money today is worth more than the money tomorrow, right? Suppose someone need to give you 1,000 rupees today, right? So the value of that 1,000 rupees today is much more than if that person told you that, no, I will give you that 1,000 rupees after 1 month or 1 year, right? The value decrease. So that is called the net present value. So you have to convert all the future returns to the present value, then you can check. Otherwise, the money or the capital which flows in or flows out in future, you cannot able to judge it properly, right? Because they are happening in future. Suppose we'll say that after 2 years you will get a return of this much, but what is the present value now? Because presently you are investing, so you have to transfer that from the future to the present, then you can make a better comparison. So that is called the NPV, or the net present value. It is just to use some kind of discount factors like interest rate, you can assume, to make it roughly equal to that. So as you are investing in some commodities or anywhere. So you are getting benefit of that in terms of some returns. The same thing you can apply as a discounted value. The future value, suppose 1000, that you have to now divide by 1 plus I raised to the power n, where n is the number of years. So you'll get the present value. So it will be less than 1000 definitely, because as I said, in future what you are getting, in present it worth less. Okay. So these are all comes under your financial appraisals. Then comes the commercial. Commercial means, as I said, you are checking the market, right? Whether there will be some customers or not, your product or service will be consumed or not. So that is called commercial appraisal. So the demand and scope of the project among the beneficiaries, customer-friendly process and preferences, future demand of the supply, effectiveness of the selling arrangement, latest information availability on all areas, government control measures, etc. Means you are looking into the market, right? Whether there will be potential customers and market for this product or not. The appraisal involves the assessment of the current demand, market scenario, which enables the project to get adequate demand, right? So you'll check whether there is a market in present time or not. So what is the trend in the market? So because after some time your project will deliver the product, so whether there will be accepted or not. So you may take the help from some market survey consultants. There are many such companies which are providing the norms of the market through various surveys and data analytics, and that can be provided to the project owners so that they can decide on this particular commercial appraisal. So estimation, distribution and advertisement scenarios also to be here considered into. All right. So this is regarding the market. Then comes the management appraisal or institutional appraisal. As I told you, here you are checking your own capacity or capability to handle that kind of that scale of project, right? If it's a small project, maybe it is very easy, but for large projects, you have to look into your managerial competence, integrity, knowledge of the project, right? So these things. So to determine whether the implementing agencies are identified in the report are capable of effective implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of the scheme. Right. So as I said, whether you are in a position to implement the project properly, because it's a complex project, it deals with huge capitals and all that. So how to ensure that you are capable of effective implementation and monitoring and evaluation of the scheme? Managerial competence, integrity, knowledge of the project. The promoters should have the knowledge and ability to plan, implement, and operate the entire project effectively. So that is called management appraisal. So whoever is implementing the project, if it is a turnkey project, maybe you have outsourced it to some other company who will produce for you. But again, if they don't have managerial capability, right, so they cannot implement it, they cannot complete it. Or if you are doing the project yourself as a company also, that is the management appraisal, that do you have the required manpower, expertise, competency and all that. So that is comes under this particular division, institutional appraisal. The past records of the promoters is to be appraised to clarify their ability. Suppose you have given the tender to a company who has never handled that scale of project. Let us say it happens, right? It happens in practice, right? Many examples are coming to my mind. So because of by any means, some small companies, they get to have very large projects which they do not have experience, right? But somehow they get that tender or that order for the project. So there will be some issue of these institutional appraisal or management appraisals. So somehow they get the project, but they don't have the experience, past record of handling that kind of projects. It happens. So whether the entity is properly organized to do the job, strength to use capability and take initiatives to reach the objectives, openness to new ideas and willingness to adopt long-term approach to extend over several projects. So that in fact sums up what is about the institutional or management appraisal. So the key words here is the managerial competency, right? If the management is not competent enough and do not have any past records of that kind of projects, then maybe it will be very risky to hand over the project to some company like that. Okay, there is another slide for this. The same management ability or competency plays an important role in making an enterprise a success or otherwise. Strictly speaking, in the absence of managerial competence, the projects which are otherwise feasible may fail. Isn't it? Very interesting. Suppose the project is otherwise very feasible and very nice project, right? The funds are in place and everything is in place, but it is handed over to a team of project team or a company which is not competent enough, so it will fail, no doubt. On the contrary, even a poor project may become a successful one with a good managerial ability. So the reverse can also happen. Hence, while doing project appraisal, the managerial competence or talent of the promoter should be taken into consideration. So this is also given importance and should be given importance, that who is handling the project. If it is a turnkey project, then who is the company to whom you are giving this project, and what is their track record, what is their past experience or record. If they have done projects, similar projects, and successfully implemented and completed, then maybe you can ensure that okay, they can do it. And if their past record is not good, they have failed in many cases, they have discontinued in many projects, and they have some issues like this. So definitely it is risky to hand over a project like this. So management appraisal is related to this factor. Then comes economic appraisal, right? Economic. So economic appraisal is again related with your cash or your investment or your capital. How far the project contributes to the development of the sector, industrial development, social development, maximizing the growth of employment, etc., are kept in view while evaluating the economic feasibility of the project, right? Again, in the economic appraisal, you are checking that if this project is not economically viable, then you should not go for it. So when I'm talking about economically viable, that reason is that suppose you have made a wrong decision and that investment in that project is not economical. When I'm saying economical, that means it is using some process which is giving a high cost of production, let us say. For example, you can see some points here. Suppose the cost of production is high because you have used some process or some input material which needs that, right? So when the cost of production will be high, right? So you cannot sell it at a cheaper price. Your product price will be high, right? So when the product price is high, that means it is economically not viable. Nobody will take it. So it become a failure, right? So that these are certain things which comes under your economical viability. Ultimately, you are looking for ROI. The next point you can see in the bullet, return on your investment. You can only get return on your investment if the project is economically viable, right? So it will benefit you, it will benefit to the customer, to the society at large, because it is an economical proposition. Otherwise, it will be a failure, right? It will be a loss for you, or it will be loss to all the stakeholders. And even the risk and uncertainty is also plays a role in economic appraisal, right? So if the project is having some huge risk or uncertainties which are involved, right? Things are not clear about certain things of this project, then maybe it will be economic failure. You have invested, but you have to back up. So that will be economic failure, right? So because it has a risk and uncertainty. Even taxes sometimes. Suppose your project idea faced a big tax change later on, right? Big tax change. So it is now hugely taxed. So that may be a factor which will make it economically unviable. So these are various factors which comes under economic appraisal, right? So there is a very very faint distinction among these economic, financial, and commercial appraisal. So be careful about all the three. Legal appraisal I have already discussed. It is related with some kind of legal issues which deals with the law of the land, maybe related to the society. People will file PILs, maybe to environment. There are environment controlling agencies like NGT, etc. They will put some obstacle on you. So how to handle it, right? There are laws for forest land. There is laws for environment clearance, land acquisition, everything. So all these things comes under your legal appraisal. Social appraisal. Social appraisal means it is related to the society, to the common man, to the public at large. So a social appraisal of a project goes beyond an economic appraisal to determine which projects will increase welfare once their distribution impact is. It is related to the welfare of the people, right? There are some projects which are socially more accepted because they are welfare projects, like a bridge, let us say, on a river, usually projects by state governments. So they have a positive social impact, right? So people living nearby, their life will be changed. They can get better employment opportunities, and their communication improved and all that. So there is no doubt. But let us say there is a chemical industry coming up somewhere nearby a village, right? It may provide employment to few, but at the same time, it is going to affect the lives of the people, their health and everything, because their water bodies will get polluted, the land will get polluted, and there are still the chances of accidents and hazards. So each and every project will have a kind of social impact. Some projects are more prone to create social projects, some are less. But yes, there will be. So how to judge? And again, it is very difficult to measure the benefits and cost in terms of money. There are so many costs and benefits which are intangible. It's very difficult to convert that into monetary terms, like health issues. Suppose your air quality get hampered and it is creating health problems to you. So how to measure it, how to express it in money? It's not possible. So similarly, benefits, let us say, suppose a project creates some indirect employment opportunities to the people living nearby. Somebody has started a transportation service, somebody has opened some shop. So these things provide employments, but again, it is not possible to quantify it in terms of numbers. So these are all comes under the social appraisals. It is a very interesting, subject in project management, and there are many detailed works you can find in social cost benefit analysis, which in short known as SCBA, social cost benefit analysis. So many people used to do research on these kind of topics. It's very interesting. As I said, it's difficult to quantify, but again, people try to understand what is the effect of this particular project on the lives of the people. So you'll find such kind of projects in people by institutions of TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. I have seen many people are engaged in such kind of projects. They find it interesting. So social appraisal is covering that aspect that engages the stakeholders to better understand their interest and to obtain many structured feedback about action and outcomes. So it needs continuous feedback from the people living nearby, like verbal, means subjective views, and you have to accumulate that, and you have to can quantify that. Okay, if this project is implemented, then what will be the benefits and what are the costs, right? So with this, I come to the end of today's class, and I think I have completed this module today. Do you have any questions on today's class? All right. So I'm stopping the class today. One thing I must okay, regarding the second quiz, I think next week we can have the second quiz, right? Next week. So you have enough time. And from next class, I will start a new module. Next week, which day? Wednesday? Okay. Next week, Wednesday, that is 9th March, we will have the second quiz on this module. I'll text it in this MS Team, and from next class I will start another module. Okay.